Hello viewers, today in my video a new viewers is present. His name is Joey. Let us start. Hello viewers, today I will take off major tribal developments in India part 1. Today's video is major tribal developments in India part 1. These major tribal movements in India part 1. Today's topic is major tribal movements. It is found in +3 5th semester DSE-2 paper, and the name of the paper is Development Process and Social Movements in Contemporary India. Today, in this video, I will discuss major tribal movements in India, part 1. In major tribal developments, part 1, I will discuss 3 major tribal movements like Tomar movements 1789 to 1832, then Kherwar movement 1833, then Santhal movement 1855. But before I discuss major tribal movements part 1, where I will discuss Tomar movement, Kherwar movement and Santhal movement, I want to inform my viewers that my channel name is @Dilip Kumar Pal 9375. Never forget. In this channel, videos of +2 level and +3 level are found. So far as +3 level videos are concerned, videos relating to +3 first semester to 6th semester political honors, videos from +3 first semester to 5th semester ethics and values, videos from +3 first semester to 2nd semester political and general elective, and some videos of environmental studies of +3 first semester are found in this channel. Again, some political science videos of +2 first year and +2 second year are also found in this channel. So I request my viewers that any video you want, any video on any topic you want, just write my name Dilip Kumar Pal and the name of the topic in Google or YouTube. You will get bilingual videos in English and Odia. Let us start. Major tribal movements in India. So first of all, take off Tomar movements 1789 to 1832. Let us start. Tribals or natives or indigenous people or aboriginals made various movements against different type of injustices made towards them. Major tribal movements are mentioned below. Before we discuss major tribal movements in India, we must know first of all the meaning of tribals. Who are tribals? Tribals are indigenous people, natives or Adivasis or aboriginals who are staying in a particular place for a long time, and they are not in the Indian caste structure and they are socially disadvantaged people. They are tribals. And these tribals from time to time made movements for social injustices made towards them. So major tribal movements, number 1, Tomar movements 1789 to 1832. So what is a Tomar movement? Tomar revolts refers to a significant tribal uprising in the Chhotnagpur region of Jharkhand, India, primarily led by the Orang tribe of Tomar region against British rule between 1789 to 1832. In the Tomar region, which is found in Jharkhand, in that Tomar region, Orang tribes made movements against the British government from 1789 to 1832. Tomar region refers to a significant tribal uprising in the Chotnagpur region of Jharkhand, India, primarily led by the Orang tribe of Tomar region against British rule between 1789 to 1832. Tomar region is a region in the Chotnagpur region of Jharkhand. In that region, Orang tribes made revolts against the British government between 1789 to 1832. 1789 to 1832. They were joined in the revolt by the tribals of adjoining area like Midnapur, Koilpur, Dhada, Chatsila, Jalda and Silli. These Orang tribes of Tomar region, which is in Jharkhand, this Tomar region, which is in Chotnagpur area of Jharkhand, made revolt against the British rule, and they were joined by other tribes of adjoining area. They were joined in the revolt by the tribals of adjoining area. They were Orang tribes made revolution, but tribals of nearest area like Midnapur, Koilpur, Dhada, Chatsila, Jalda and Silli also joined with the Orang tribes to make revolution against the British rule. Tribals of Tomar region revolted seven times between 1789 to 1832 against the British under the leadership of Bhola Nath Sahai of Tomar region. These Orang tribes of Tomar region made 7 revolts. They made revolts 7 times against the British rule. Under the leadership of Bhola Nath Sahai of Tomar region. These Orang tribes of Tomar region made revolt seven times in between 1789 to 1832 under the leadership of Bhola Nath Sahai of Tomar region. Besides Orang tribes of Tomar, other tribes like Mundas, Hos, Kols also joined. No doubt Orang tribes of Tomar region started revolution against the British government. But other tribes also joined with the Orang tribes to make revolution. These tribes are Mundas, Hos, H-O-S, Kols, K-O-L-S, Kols also joined. The rebels used guerrilla warfare against the British rule. The rebels used guerrilla warfare, means fighting secretly, not in front. It is known as guerrilla war. These rebels used guerrilla war against the British. This revolt was made primarily due to British government's faulty land policy, where there was illegal withdrawal of land rights from the farmers from their land, causing widespread discontent among the Orang tribes of Tomar region. Despite fierce resistance, British government eventually suppressed Tomar revolt in 1832. These Orang tribes of Tomar region are supported by other tribes like Mundas, Hos, Kols. They fought guerrilla war against the British government. Why they made revolt against the British government? Because British government illegally withdrew the land rights from the Orang tribes. This revolt was made primarily due to British government's faulty land policy, where there was illegal withdrawal of land rights from the farmers from their land, causing widespread discontent among the Orang tribes of the Tomar region. Orang tribes of Tomar region made revolt against the British government because of British government's wrong or faulty land policy. British government's faulty land policy withdrew legal rights of farmers over their land in the Tomar region. So Orang people of Tomar region made revolution. Despite fierce resistance, British government eventually suppressed Tomar revolt in 1832. No doubt, Orang tribes of Tomar region made revolt against the British government. But British government suppressed the revolt in 1832. It was the first revolt against the British government known as the Tomar movement 1789 to 1832. Second revolt was Kherwar movement 1833. Another revolt was made, tribal movement was known as the Kherwar movement 1833. What is the Kherwar movement 1833? The Kherwar movement or Safa-Hor movement. The Kherwar movement is other one is the Safa, S-A-P-H-A-H-O-R movement. The Kherwar movement or Safa-Hor movement refers to a socio-religious and political resistance movement primarily led by Santhal community against the British rule in the 19th century, particularly in the Santhal Pargana region of Jharkhand, India. Another movement, tribal movement was known as the Kherwar movement. When it was held? 1833. The Kherwar movement or Safa-Hor movement. The Kherwar movement was otherwise known as the Safa-Hor movement, refers to a socio-religious and political resistance movement primarily led by the Santhal community against the British rule in the 19th century, particularly in the Santhal Pargana region of Jharkhand, India. So, Kherwar movement is a Santhal movement. Santhal is a tribe. Kherwar movement is a Santhal movement. This Kherwar movement was made by Santhal tribes. In which area? In the Santhal Pargana, Santhal dominated area of Jharkhand. And it was a socio-religious and political movement. It was led by Bhagirathi Majhi, particularly popularly known as Babaji. This Kherwar movement, which was a movement made by Santhal community, it was also known as Safa-Hor movement. It was led under the leadership of Bhagirath Majhi, popularly known as Babaji. The leader of this movement was Bhagirath Majhi, who was popularly known as the Babaji. This Kherwar movement is also known as Safa-Hor movement. Why? Which means clean movement in the Santhali language, signifying desire for social reform alongside political resistance against colonial exploitation. This Kherwar movement is otherwise known as the Safa-Hor movement. Safa-Hor movement means clean movement in Santhali language. It means to signifying the desire for social reform in the Santhal reform alongside political resistance against the colonial rule. This Kherwar movement or Safa-Hor movement or clean movement is a socio-religious and political movement. This Safa-Hor movement is otherwise known as the clean movement. Means to bring reform in the Santhal community, and it is also a political movement. It is a social reform movement as well as it is a political movement. It is social reform movement means it wants to bring some reform in the Santhal community. Again, it is a political movement because it is a movement against the colonial rule. In the one hand, this movement desire to cleanse on the one hand. In the one hand, this movement desires to cleanse their society from harmful practices and embrace a more ethical way of life. It is a social reform movement because it wants to kick out all the bad things from the Santhal community. It desires to cleanse society. This movement desires to cleanse their society from harmful practices and embrace a more ethical way of life. It is a social reform movement because it wants to clean or cleanse all the bad and harmful practices from the Santhal community. Again, embrace a more ethical way of life, and it wants to introduce ethical things in the Santhal community. It wants to make an ethical way of life for the Santhal community. So in this way, it is a socio-religious movement. Again, it is a political movement because it demanded before the British government to return tribal lands which were taken by the British government, and its policy to convert Santhals into Christianity, along with to control price rise of essential commodities. Another object of this movement is to drive out non-Santhals from this area. So this Kherwar movement or Safa movement is a socio-religious movement in one hand, and it is a political movement. It is a social-religious movement because it wants to drive out all the harmful practices from the Santhal community. It wants to provide an ethical way of life in the Santhal community. In this way, it is a socio-religious movement. Again, it is a political movement because it demanded before the British government to return tribal lands which were taken by the British government. It revolted against the British government to return all the tribal lands which British government took away from the tribals. Again, its policy to convert Santhal into Christianity. It registered because British government wants to convert Santhals into Christianity. And again, it revolted against the British government because British government was unable to control prices of essential commodities. Another object of this movement is to drive out non-Santhal from Santhal area. Another object of this movement is to drive out non-Santhal from Santhal area. So it is a socio-religious and political movement. The British responded to the movement with repressive measures, including posting military police in the district and sending a field force of cavalry, means soldiers with horse, and infantry, soldiers with foot. British government, to control this movement, posted military. British responded to the movement with repressive measures. British government wanted to control this movement with repressive measures, including posting a military police in the district and sending cavalry, means soldiers who are fighting with horse, and infantry, soldiers who are fighting with foot. So to control the movement, British government took repressive measures. They deputed military police to the area, and they sent cavalry, soldiers with horse who are fighting with horse, with the help of horse, and infantry, soldiers who are fighting with the foot. So British government, to control this movement, took repressive measures. So we have completed the Tomar movement, we have completed Kherwar movement. Now we'll discuss Santhal Revolt movement 1855. Another tribal movement was Santhal Revolt movement 1855. The Santhal Revolt is also known as Santhal Hul movement. The Santhal Revolt is also known as Santhal Hul, H-O-O-L, Hul movement, was begun on 30th June 1855. Santhal movement, which was otherwise known as the Santhal Hul movement, begun in 30th June 1855. Santhals are tribal communities in present-day Jharkhand and West Bengal, were oppressed by a British colonial government landlords and money lenders who took land from Santals. The Santal movement took place in this movement was the Santal revolt is also known as Santal Hul movement. The Santal movement Santal revolt is otherwise known as Santal Hul movement. When it was begun? On 30th June 1855. Santals are tribal community in present day Jharkhand and West Bengal were oppressed by the British colonial government, landlords and money lenders who took land from Santals. The Santals is a community. They are staying in Jharkhand and West Bengal. They were being oppressed by whom? British government or colonial government, landlords and money lenders. In which way? The British government, money lenders and landlords took Santhal lands, acquired Santhal lands forcibly. This movement was made to bring Santhal land back to Santals. So the British government, the landlords and money lenders took Santhal lands forcibly. So Santhal revolt was made to bring back Santhal lands to Santhal people. This movement was made by two brothers. Sidhu and Kanu. Two brothers made this movement. Sidhu and Kanu, who held a meeting at Baghnadi, Bhagnadih. This movement was led by two brothers, Sidhu and Kanu, who held a meeting at Bhagnadi, and made the announcement that their movement will be over by taking back lands from oppressors. This movement was made by Sidhu and Kanu, two brothers, and they made an announcement at Bhagnadi that their movement will be over at that time when all the Santhal lands will be brought back from the oppressors. Following the announcements made in the meeting, thousands of Santhal marched with their traditional weapons towards Calcutta for presenting a petition to the governor. When the announcement was made by Sidhu and Kanu to bring back Santhal land from the oppressors, after the announcement, which was made in Bhagnadi, then thousands of Santals marched with their traditional weapons towards Calcutta to present a petition to the governor. After the announcement was made, thousands of Santals with their traditional weapons marched towards Calcutta to give a petition to the governor. The police officer obstructed them and provoked them violence. But when they marched towards Calcutta to give petition to the governor, the police personnel obstructed and provoked violence. Several thousand Santals were massacred in the hands of British. When violence broke out, several thousand Santals were murdered in the hands of British. The movement continued for 60 days. This rebellion forced the government to change its policy towards Santals. When the revolution, which continued for 60 days, British government was forced to bring changes in its policy towards Santhal. About 5,000 square kilometers were carved out as Santhal Pargana. After this movement, British government demarcated or carved out 5,000 square kilometer as Santhal Pargana. An administrative head was appointed to recover alienated land. 5,000 square kilometer Santhal land was carved out, and an administrative officer was appointed to bring back Santhal lands from colonial rule, landlords, money lenders, and it was decided that Santhal land cannot be transferred to non-Santhals. It was decided that Santhal land cannot be transferred to non-Santhals and allowed land inheritance only within the Santhal community and preserve Santhal rights to self-govern the land. When Santhal movement was made, British government brought some changes in its policy towards Santhals, and British government by demarcated 5,000 square kilometer Santhal land and described it as the Santhal Pargana and appointed an administrative head to recover all the lands of Santhals which were taken by others illegally. And British government declared that Santhal lands cannot be taken by non-Santhals. Santhal lands can be purchased and sold by the Santhal community, and Santhal will be given power to govern their land. So in this video, major tribal movements in India, part 1, I have discussed Tomar movements, Kherwar movement, Santhal revolt. In next part, I will discuss some other videos of Santhal movements. So I request my viewers, never forget to subscribe the channel. Benefit will be yours, and aware of your friends about this channel, so some students will be benefited. Remember, by giving help to anybody, there will not be any loss. Help to others is a social work. I expect this much from my viewers. Thank you. Have a nice day.